I feel the Spirit moving in me. I feel the Spirit moving in me.
Welcome to you out there watching us on Facebook Live this morning. It's great to have you with us. It's a rainy day here in Maui, and probably the coolest day that we've had this year, which doesn't mean a whole lot. It's probably still 75 degrees, but for us here, it's cool. So thank you for being with us wherever you are and keeping your thoughts and your prayers with the state of Hawaii today as we face this storm that is amongst us. All right, well, let's see. Where do we go from here? We probably should start with prayer. We're going to call on Adam to get us prayed in today. And then after the service today, Adam will be right around here. And if you'd like an up close and personal prayer with this prayer magician, you can find him up here. And Mike's here checking the mic. Here we go, Mike on the mic, and let's have Adam on the prayer.
And I'll respect the equipment, and I won't do a mic drop when I'm finished. So thank you all. Thanks for those with the courage to come out here, brave souls. Today really wasn't that bad. They scare us a little bit. I guess the Big Island's getting it pretty big, but I'm not here to give the weather report. I'm here to tell you the sun is still shining on the other side of those clouds, and that's a really important metaphor to remember. So this beautiful, rainy, cloudy world that we're in, it's special and perfect. But it's also good to remember that no matter how dark it is, no matter how many shadows or clouds are in the way, the infinite sun is always shining. It's always out there. So that's good to remember sometimes when you feel like you're really in the shadows. So we acknowledge that infinite source. We acknowledge that beautiful light that is constantly shining no matter what. And we also know that we are part of that. That light illuminates us. That infinite source and being and energy, so multidimensional, is within us. That DNA, that seed, that extension, we're part of that wholeness. It couldn't be infinite without us, and that's really cool too. So knowing that we are connected to the infinite power, we know that our dreams and visions and callings are all our teamwork with God. And so we're so grateful for all the awareness we have, all the yearnings we have in our heart to give some gift, to do something, all the teachers that have been in our life to show us the way. We're so grateful for those. Our friends, our family, our coworkers, our playmates as we move through this universe and remember more of who we truly are. And that is good. And so it is. Thank you.
And so it is. Thank you, Adam. And here comes Joyce, so that makes me think that she's reading the Daily Word today. Hi, Joy. Yeah, it's not to the right page, but I have it. All right, good.
Our word for today is glory. How about that? I like that word. I celebrate the glory of God in myself and all others. Magnificence, radiance, and tremendous power. These are awe-inspiring qualities that describe the glory of God. Because I am a living expression of spirit, these glorious attributes are also part of my spiritual nature. In the peace of prayer, exquisite awareness of God's glory fills my mind and heart. Everyone is God's living expression, a reflection of divine glory, just as I am. Even when my limited human perception has not yet perceived it, my faith shows me this truth about every person I meet. As my awareness of glory within awakens, spiritual wisdom, understanding, and love teach me to cooperate with all who are seeking to build greater harmony, abundance, and compassion among all humankind and the world's creatures. This is the Bible quote from John 17:22. The glory that you have given me, I have given them, so that they may be one as we are one.
Thank you. Nice. All right. John Lewis wasn't just a leader. He was a force of compassion that changed the course of history. John Lewis is often remembered as a giant in the civil rights movement, a man who stood fearlessly on the front lines of the struggle for justice. But what made Lewis truly extraordinary was not just his courage, it was his profound compassion. This compassion of his wasn't passive, it was active, driving every action he took, every word he spoke. One of the most defining moments of Lewis' life occurred on March 7th, 1965. Maybe you remember. A day that would come to be known as Bloody Sunday. On that day, Lewis led over 600 peaceful protesters across the Edmund Pettus Bridge in Selma, Alabama. The goal was simple and powerful. It was to march for the voting rights that had been denied to Black Americans for so long. As they reached the crest of the bridge, they were met by a wall of state troopers armed with clubs, tear gas, and a terrifying intent to stop the march at any cost. Even in the face of imminent danger, John Lewis stood firm in the front of the march. He wasn't just marching for himself, he was marching for everyone who had been silenced, marginalized, oppressed. It was his deep compassion for his fellow citizens that fueled his courage, pushing him forward even as the state troopers advanced. That day, Lewis was brutally beaten and suffered a fractured skull, but his resolve never wavered. Compassion, as demonstrated by Lewis, involves understanding the pain and the struggles of others and taking meaningful action to address that suffering. It takes courage to stand up for what is right, even when it means facing adversity. Lewis's actions exemplified this kind of compassion, one that's fierce, one that's courageous, one that's unwavering in its commitment to justice and the well-being of others. By choosing nonviolent protest, even in the face of violent oppression, Lewis showed that true compassion is more than just kindness. It's about creating real change through love and understanding rather than through anger and division. His life and legacy remind us that compassion has the power to transform society, to transform us. And that by acting with compassion, we can bring about meaningful and lasting change in the world. This act of compassion didn't just inspire the members of the march that day. It inspired a nation. The images of the violence in Selma shocked the conscience of America, leading to a surge of support for the civil rights movement. You might remember just a few months later, this wave of compassion helped bring about the Voting Rights Act of 1965. One of the most significant pieces of legislation in American history. John Lewis' story is a powerful reminder that true leadership isn't just about standing up. It's about standing up with love and compassion. His life shows that when we lead with compassion, we amplify our ability to create lasting change. And as we'll explore today, this same compassion is a critical path to manifesting the lives that we want to create in this world. So this talk is final of 3 talks that I've done based on Dr. James Doty's book, Mind Magic, The Neuroscience of Manifestation. And during this series, we've explored how thoughts shape our reality. Something that we all know, we've all been taught, we've lived by. And then we also talked about last week, how can we harness the potential of our minds, right, by setting powerful intentions. And so today we're taking it to the next level. And we're going to explore how aligning our intentions with compassion doesn't just enhance our ability to manifest our desires, it actually amplifies them in such a way as we connect to ourselves, to spirit, and the world around us. This is manifestation. I think that compassion is a deep awareness of others' suffering and the desire to do something about it. Right? It's more than empathy. It's empathy with action. Compassion is about how we are treating others. And self-compassion is about extending this same kindness to ourselves, especially when we're facing challenging times. Anybody ever have any challenging times? So it's so important during those times to be compassionate with ourselves. It's about recognizing our own struggles, which we all have in these physical bodies, and having compassion for ourselves. So you might say, well, great, Rev, well, why is compassion important? This is, if you only take a few things away from this talk today, I hope you'll take this away. Because compassion, especially self-compassion, has the power to heal emotional wounds that block our intentions. Right? We can have all the greatest intentions in the world, but if we're harboring fear or doubt or lack or hurt or pain, it stops us from expressing those intentions and manifesting that which we desire. Compassion softens the soil. It helps release these fears, these doubts, and creating a supportive internal environment where our intentions can grow and take root. You know, when we're practicing compassion, we're telling ourselves that it's okay to be where you are. It's okay to feel what you feel, right? It's okay to know that you are worthy of growth, that you are worthy of truth, that you are worthy of love. And what's important about all this is that when we are embracing compassion, it changes our mindset from scarcity, from self-criticism to a mindset of abundance and possibility. Do you see the difference? And then we become more resilient. We become more true to our intentions when we can let go of the stuff that keeps us from having intentions and expressing them and having manifestation. In short, compassion isn't just for others and for ourselves. It's just not only a feel-good concept. It's a transformative force that clears the path for manifestation, allowing our intentions to flourish in a nurturing and supportive environment that is us, right? In essence, it clears this light that we are, right? It takes the shade off of light, because when we're holding on to fear or doubt or hurt or resentment, it blocks our light from getting out. You might remember we've been talking about James Doty. He wrote the book, Mind Magic, The Neuroscience of Manifestation, and he had huge success as a medical doctor. And he just blinked at me to say that this is true. And he took the money that he made, the resources that he developed through his practice, and he invested those in a company that initially flourished and made him lots of money. And then you might remember the dot-com bubble burst. In that bubble burst, Dr. Doty found himself facing tremendous losses. So much of what he had invested went away. And he had a personal crisis, one of fear and doubt and loss. So let's go back to when Dr. Doty was a child. You might remember I told the story in the first talk in this series about Doty riding his bike one day, and he went to a magic shop. Now, I don't know about you. I know there's a couple people in this room who like magic, right? And I was one of those. If I saw a magic shop when I was a kid, I'm there. I'm still there today if I see a magic shop. So Doty peered in the window, and inside the magic shop was a woman named Ruth. She was the shop owner's wife, and she knew nothing about magic. At least, not that kind. So she invited young Doty in, and they talked, and she taught him about manifestation. She taught him about compassion. She taught him about connecting with his true essence and experiencing life through that window of magic, through that window of love, through that window of having compassion for others, and that window of having compassion for himself. And as an adult, Doty remembered these teachings. And these teachings helped him to navigate his way through this challenging time. He remembered to have self-compassion for himself in spite of what he was experiencing. And he even found that he could reach out to other people and show that compassion to other people in spite of the fact that he was hurting himself. He founded the Center for Compassion, research and education. He embraced compassion in the midst of his challenging time. This shift empowered him to rebuild his life, to open his heart and his mind to a new way of being, and to serve others. He's a philanthropist, I must admit. His experience demonstrates how compassion can guide us through even the most challenging circumstances, helping us to navigate life's obstacles with resilience and grace. Anybody want any of that? So, how do we do this? Well, I've got some ideas. I've got 5 practical steps to cultivate compassion for manifestation. And, as I kind of clue you in on these ideas that Dr. Doty and I came up with, I invite you to think of one thing, one way, one something that you want to manifest in your life. What is one intention that you have? And I invite you to use these steps to focus on that one intention, whatever it is. So the first one is to align your intentions with compassion. So when you think of that one intention that you have, imagine that you can look at it from a higher perspective, where it's not so much about what me wants, you want, but how can that intention that you have serve with compassion? How can it have compassion for you? And how can this intention serve the world, the planet, the environment, where you live, who your friends are, who the people you connect with are? So you ask, how can this intention be aligned with compassion? And the second step in doing this is to have mindful self-reflection, right? And this means to take time every day or on a regular basis and just reflect. I like the way this picture of this lady is looking in the mirror and just kind of reflecting on her thoughts and her emotions. You might ask, how am I being kind to myself? How am I being kind to others? Am I being kind to others? Is that the intention that I'm setting in my life? Let's breathe into that for a moment. And to realize, too, it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay not to have it right the first time. It's okay if you're not being kind. It's okay. Because we're going to talk about that, how to get around that in a moment. And even in this reflection, to ask yourself, am I carrying doubt? Am I criticizing myself? Am I holding on to judgment? Am I holding on to shame? Am I holding on to anger about somebody else? Anger about me? Am I holding on to guilt? Am I holding somebody else and disliking or being angry at somebody else? Because if you wonder, how come I'm not manifesting the life I want? This is the clue. If you're holding on to any of these things, these are the things that block your ability to act on your intentions and manifest that which you desire. I love this. This is amazing to me. I've read all kinds of books on affirmations and creating the life, but I've never heard this philosophy before. And I think it is so powerful and it is so true. If we really want to be abundant, if we really want to be happy, we have to look at this stuff. Doesn't that sound fun? Or are you just like, oh, baby, I'm loving this? It's like, some of you are thinking, man, I wish I hadn't come to Unity today. The Rev goes and points this stuff out to me. But this is how we heal, right? This is all about healing. The whole unity journey is about healing. Healing that which keeps us from being the perfect light of spirit wherever we are. But we're not done yet. The third step is compassionate communication. And this is about really, again, reflecting on what kind of communication do I have with others? Am I blaming others? Am I criticizing others? Am I angry at others? How are you communicating? Are you open to having compassion for others? Do you feel like the things in your life are so important that you have to blast them at everybody else all the time? Can you listen to somebody else? Can you be present for somebody else beside yourself? Having compassionate communication. And then to reflect too, and how can I, okay, that bit that I just did, that wasn't the best communication I could have had. How could I have done it better? How can I have compassion for myself and say, okay, I understand that I didn't do that great. How can I have it better? What can I do to make it better? How can I support myself better next time? And the fourth thing that we can do to be a compassionate manifester is to have a daily compassion practice. You know, just to have a few moments every day to have compassion for yourself. Just to say, you know, I love myself. I just love you. And I'm here for you. I'm standing with you. There's a great exercise too, and we've talked about it before, is the loving kindness meditation. Remember that? It's a Buddhist practice of saying to yourself, may I be happy. May I be healthy. May I be peace. I just really feel that and breathe into that, right? Because basically what we're doing here is training ourselves to be compassionate. To be compassionate. All these steps are about training ourselves to be compassionate. And then to say, may you be happy. May you be healthy, and hold someone in your mind. May you be at peace. And even take that further out and to say that into the world. You know, may our world be happy. May our world be healthy. May our world be peaceful. And the fifth step, probably, well, they're all powerful. This one is perhaps the most powerful. I guess this is where I am, is to have love for yourself and to really love yourself. You know, the highest form of compassion is to love yourselves. If you don't love yourself, how effective do you think you'll be at loving somebody else? Not so much. Because you're going to put yourself before everybody else and your hurts, your pain, right, that you haven't released. And we can't be present for others if we're holding on to stuff. And so the last part of this is to love yourself and what? Let go. Just let go of all that stuff. You know, you go, oh, Rev, I don't want to let go of all that stuff. That's like my foundation, right? I'm an angry person and I get things done that way, right? Okay, you may get things done, but you're not going to be the manifester, manifester that you want to be if you're holding on to that stuff. So you want to identify the things that you're holding on to. Are you haunted by past hurts or mistakes? Let them go. If you did something, said something in the past, let it go. Take yourself off the hook. Are you angry at something somebody said? Let it go. If someone did something that hurt you, let it go. However, we, of course, don't want to condone bad behavior. If somebody was abusive, then stay away from them or do something about it. But even let the anger go. Letting go, when we let go, we clear the path for our intentions to manifest without the burden of unresolved pain. So take a breath with me and just breathe into that. By integrating these 5 steps into your life, you cultivate compassion in a way that directly supports your manifestation, your journey. You're not just wishing for things to happen, you're creating a fertile, supportive environment where your intentions can take root and thrive. Compassion, both for yourself and others, is the key to unlocking the full potential of your manifestations. Compassion acts like a magnet, drawing the resources that you need and want toward you because your intentions are in harmony with the greater good. Do you see the difference? The power of compassion. When we harness the power of compassion, we're not just manifesting for ourselves, we're manifesting for the world. And that's where the magic happens. So my call to action for you today is to take one intention that you have, one desire that you have, and connect it with compassion and commit to expressing compassion for yourself and for others daily. And I invite you to try this week and really feel into it, really be into the idea of setting an intention with compassion. And then this is like an experiment, right? We all took science in high school or college, right? Well, this is an experiment. And I invite you to step into this experiment, try this out, and notice how your ability to manifest changes. Right? Because this is going to clear your conscience. It's going to clear your awareness. It's going to clear your potential. So as you go forward from here, remember that every act of compassion, no matter how small, is a step towards manifesting a brighter, more abundant world for you and for the world. I invite you to say our affirmation together with me. Let's say it together. I am creating a life of abundance as I align my intentions and actions with compassion. And I invite you to close your eyes. Breathing in, just allowing yourself to be present right here, right now. And just know that right here in this spiritual center, you are in the midst of this pot of potential. Right now, the universe is saying to you, come, what do you want? Discover your desire. What is your intention? Embrace it with compassion. And the universe will support you on this journey. Because we're not just wanting things for ourselves. We're wanting that which is for the common good of all life, for this planet, for this country, for this state, for this island, for this city, for this moment. Breathing in. And in a moment, we'll join together for a few moments in the silence. And I invite you just to imagine that you're holding this intention. That you're holding this intention that you have with love, with compassion. Like it's a newborn baby. A newborn baby that you get to love and encourage and inspire to be all that it can be. Knowing that as this infant grows, it takes this consciousness, this love, this light, this power, this wholeness, this beauty, this magnificence out into the world. So let's just take a few moments to hold this child in the silence. I am creating a life of abundance as I align my intentions and actions with compassion. Breathing in and breathing out. We see the energy of this intention moving in and through you out into the world. And I invite you to begin to bring your awareness back to this moment. And to open your eyes when you're ready. If you enjoyed my talk today, I summarize everything on this document that I call a Walk Your Talk, and it's on the table in back, and you can take it home with you and practice the things we talked about today. And now I'd like to invite Adam Lightplay up to tell us what's happening next Sunday. Sunday.
Gregory Speedway.
Well, lucky for Reverend Blaine, he gets to go out and enjoy some vacation time and some refreshment, and he's off to another adventure, and whenever Blaine's away, the chaplains will play.
Oh.
And so usually the first thing that comes up is the 5 chaplains get together and try to take our diverse realities and cram them all together into some sort of cohesive presentation. And it always comes out wonderful and is some sort of stone soup. And so we started talking last week about what we wanted to do, and someone heard the word surrender and suggested that to us as a starting point. And not all of us were willing to surrender to that. Some people, the word surrender is this blessed giving it up and going with the flow of God. And for other people, surrender might sound like defeat or something. So we talked about that word. We talked about what we really wanted to communicate. And perhaps there are times to surrender, and perhaps there's times to charge ahead like Don Quixote. One more showing, 3 o'clock today. Your last chance. $15 balcony seats are available. Sorry, little sidebar, but Man of La Mancha.
All for $20, by the way.
All for $20.
All for 20. All seats today are $20.
Oh, they dropped them all to 20.
They did.
It's amazing. Okay, let me finish on this, and then sorry.
All right.
I'm going in 2 directions. So. Well, let me finish on Man of La Mancha. It's, a story that was written 500 years ago, and then 50 years ago they turned it into a stage musical. And at least 100 people on Maui have dedicated the last 2 months of their life to telling this story. Now, I'm not telling you to go support charity. I'm telling you that the most awesome thing you've ever seen is happening on stage. So if you haven't seen it yet, there's a Broadway quality show happening one more time this afternoon at the MAC to see, and for $20. And it breaks my heart that the seats are empty because it's so much. Amy Hanaiali'i Gilliam, another guy, Broadway actor, Robert Cray, Francis Tawa, who's adorable and everything. So if you haven't seen it yet, or you're at home, brave the weather and see it. Okay.
I saw it on Broadway when I was a kid, and this is just as much quality as on Broadway. The original Man of La Mancha and this one, this will knock your socks off, guaranteed.
And it's all based about what Blaine was talking about today, compassion and making a difference and standing for what's right. And it's so touching and so moving and so who we are as a human being. So sometimes we fight the impossible dream, sometimes we surrender. So the best we could come up with on short notice, our brilliant title is The Chaotic Soup of Quantum Possibilities. Because, so that's next week's talk. So it should be fun. It's kind of like stone soup, we all bring something special to the pot and manifest our reality. So come join us and we'll see what we have to share. Thank you.
And may I also add that Julia and her World Peace Singers will be here next week. I will be coming back from a wonderful trip to Banff, and it turns out that they'll be there at the same time. And Julia over here and the beautiful World Peace Singers will be presenting music for you next Sunday.
Yes. Thank you, World Peace Singer. Thank you, everybody, for being here today and doing this work. Yes, I am taking a 3-week sabbatical, and my intention is to work on a book that I'm writing, and so hold me in your thoughts and prayers for that. I'm writing a fictional book that has spiritual truth and takes place in Peru. And it should be quite an adventure, both the writing of it and the way it all turns out. So thank you for that. More will be foretold about that. And I think that we've done it all, haven't we?
Yeah.
So, just a word, the Manna La Mancha is at 3 o'clock today. So go see it if you haven't seen it yet. And why don't we stand and let's pray together the prayer for protection, and then we'll join hands and sing the peace song. So for ourselves, for this ministry, for all life, let's pray together the prayer for protection, which begins, the light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us wherever we are. God is. God bless you, friends. See you next time.
Where